We finally did it. Multiplayer Gaming Podcast has a Patreon you can join right now. You can now get exclusive access to our Discord server and see behind the scenes as we talk about the games you know and love, as well as uncover those gems you haven't heard of yet. You can have the chance to game with Josh, Paul, and I, and get sweet custom shirts, games, stickers, and more. Just go to multiplayersquad.com to sign up for the Patreon.
Hello, and welcome to the Multiplayer Gaming Podcast. Each Monday, we have one of two different types of shows for you, either a deep dive episode into a particular game or a bonus round episode where we discuss a gaming topic. Today just so happens to be a bonus round episode, and we decided that today we are going to talk about games that we would like to see remastered or remade. Now, before we start talking about the easiest money grab for developers in the world of gaming, we need some introductions. I am your host, Paul, and we're lucky today, everyone, because I have not just one, but two co-hosts. First, we have my brother-in-law. He's the youngest one here. I know you guys can't see him, but he's looking very dapper on my video feed. He does not need any real-life remastering. It's Todd.
I'm here in a tuxedo t-shirt. I want to say I'm ready to party, but I can be formal too.
Your crisp suit is looking very nice. I like the two-button jacket. Looking very classy. And then we have in the other corner, the oldest one here. He's also looking pretty dapper on my video feed. He doesn't need any real-life remastering either. It's Josh.
I am just sitting here in my six-pack abs shirt, And then all I could think about, and the whole time you're introducing Todd, I'm just singing in my head, the Todd is back in town, the Todd is back in town, Todd is back in town.
Is that like an old song?
I don't know, is it? I don't know who sings that. I bet you Paul knows who sings that, though. Paul has a good music.
Yeah, the boys are back in town. I couldn't tell you who sings it, but Eagles. I do know the song.
Is it the Eagles?
It is not the Eagles.
I'm thinking of the Boys of Summer.
You're thinking of Hotel California.
No, it's the Boys of Summer.
Oh, the Boys of Summer.
Right?
Very nice. All right, now let's just jump right in, guys. Remasters and remakes. We have seen so many of these release in the last few years. It's only been a couple of weeks since we did a This Week in Gaming episode when Josh and I actually talked about remasters a fair amount. There was some news in BlizzCon and Nintendo Direct. Both of them were touting these remasters that are coming out for Diablo 2 and The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. And we shared a little bit of our opinions. Josh, I seem to remember you had some strong ones. How do you feel about remasters in general?
Dude, I love remasters, man. I think they're the greatest thing ever. No, remasters are terrible, man. Like it's like you said, they're money grabs. It's very, very rare that a remaster is something that I get excited about. Because it's like, I've already played this game. I don't need to play this game again and have you charge me for it. Again, I already own it. I can just go play the old one.
I'm calling shenanigans. You were super excited about Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remaster, and you jumped for that game.
I'm
did. Pretty sure.
Ask me how many hours I played that game, Todd.
Several.
Just long enough that I could not get granted my refund request. I was excited about that one. And you know what? It just goes to show you, Todd, you prove my point. You can never recapture the magic.
You can't.
Josh went so far in that episode as to say that remasters should not even be made, like full stop, regardless of price. Josh only wants new content.
Yeah.
Todd, we haven't really heard your opinion on this yet. How do you feel about remasters?
Well, I'm torn. There's part of me that's like Tony Hawk 1 and 2. Of course, I want to play that game. You start playing it, and then it's just like, it's like going back and watching, an old movie and it just doesn't live up to the hype. I feel like game mechanics change so much over time. Like I felt this with Halo. you play Halo 1 and you're like, man, this game is so slow. Like I want to slide, I want to run, I want movement speed, and the game just doesn't deliver it. So it's hard to go back to like your old favorite games because it's not the same. You're used to different gameplay, you're used to different things. But at the same time, it's really nice to be able to play Halo in like modern graphics. So I don't know. Pros and cons.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. To me, a lot of it comes down to the price. If it's reasonably priced and it's relatively cheap, then I am all for it. I have bought several remastered games, and we'll all kind of break down what we've bought here in just a minute. But for me, what makes me irritated are remasters like Skyward Sword, when Nintendo came out and said, this is going to be $60.
Yeah,
oh, come
get
on.
over yourself, Nintendo remaster department.
Yeah, you can't slap a new coat of paint and say it's worth the original MSRP price, which is exactly what we're getting with something like that. No remaster, in my opinion, should ever be more than $20.
Exactly.
$20 is a good price.
I agree. And then what was it? Mario All-Stars, where you got the 3 games, right?
Well, each one was $20.
Yeah, each one was $20. It was just $60 for the trio, but it's, the math checks out there.
Sure. Yeah. 20 per. I'm okay with that. So let's talk a little bit about remastered games, maybe that we own or maybe ones that we have played. Josh, since you're the one who seems to hate this the most, maybe your list will be the shortest. Have you played any remastered games?
I went through all of my game libraries, and I did discover that I apparently do own a remaster, and it is BioShock 2. And then I promptly submitted a support ticket to Steam and said, get this crap out of my library. I didn't buy this.
Someone's hacked your account?
Yes. And then they said, oh, no, you got that for free because you bought BioShock 2. So I legitimately do not own any remasters whatsoever.
Halo Master Chief Collection.
Okay, I own one remaster.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater that you just
tried
mentioned.
to refund that, so that one doesn't count. Even though I still own it because they wouldn't give me my money back.
You said, I don't want my money back. Just take it out of my library.
Yeah, so that when they ask me on the show that I can say no. Okay, I did forget about this too. I'll say this. I was really excited about Halo Master Chief Collection, and I was really excited about Tony Hawk. And I hate both of those games. So I stand by what I say. I don't like remasters.
Yeah. I feel like Todd really zeroed in on one of the innate problems is that when you play a game that is 10 years old or more, game mechanics have just changed so much that they feel like different games. When you go back and play these old Halos, you can't aim down sights. Tony Hawk Pro Skater, the movements are a little jankier. They're not as smooth or as crisp as newer games. So I feel like if it's not going to be a complete remake from the ground up, that inevitably they're going to fall short in some way. You're almost fine just playing the old versions. There's almost not even really a need for remasters.
Even inside of Halo Master Chief Collection, the difference between Halo Reach, basically fresh can of paint, and then they ported it over to PC and then they called it good, versus Halo 2 Anniversary, where they spent more time with it and they're like, all right, we're gonna make this an anniversary edition and make it a standalone thing, and that just feels so much better. It plays so much better. They tweaked some of the maps a little bit to make them feel more modern, and to me, Halo 2 Anniversary did such a better job than the early Halo Reach game we played. And I think it shows you need some more attention rather than, hey, we're going to port this over, make it more modern, update the graphics, and then call it good. You need to actually fix the game a little bit because time has changed. You need to update it more than just paint.
See, yeah. Halo 2, I played Halo 2 Anniversary with you guys, and it's one of those, is it better than Reach? Yes, it is, but that game is still 20 years old. I mean, it still feels dated to me. And, they did do a better job of, the updates and making it feel a little bit better than just, what they did with like Reach, but it's still, to me, it still shows. Like, it still shows that wear. It still shows that it's out of date. It doesn't hold up to like today's games. So,
a game that still holds true to the original version and is still playable right now. Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition.
Wait, I thought you were going to bring this up later, Todd.
No, I'm bringing it up at the beginning of the podcast. I'm starting with this. For me, RTS hasn't changed in the past 20 years. It's still the same like game mechanics. So, of course, that game feels great. It plays great. It's like modernized. It's the Definitive Edition, guys.
Now, Josh, I believe I bet on the over of Todd mentioning 1.5 games between Halo and Age of Empires in the first 10 minutes.
You win.
So I think I win.
I think it was 9 minutes
brought
and
up
55
Stop it. Is this a real bet you guys had?
No.
Okay, I was about to say.
But if someone legitimately said, what are the two games Todd will bring up first, I'd probably say Halo
100%.
and Age of Empires. I feel like Todd was so excited that we picked remasters just so he could talk about these games again.
Done. Welcome to the Todd Age of Empire Hour.
I will say this, Todd, not to put you on the spot, but you were seriously enjoying the remaster of Fall Guys, too. You know.
By remaster, you just mean like an additional season that doesn't
it's just a new
suck
season.
as bad?
Yeah. So, Todd, any other remasters that stick out to you other than your times with Tony Hawk, Halo, and Age of Empires?
Sadly enough, I never got Tony Hawk. I couldn't fork out the $40.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, Halo and Age of Empires. I looked through my Steam library and I didn't find too many other things. So those are the main two for me.
Yeah, I don't own too many myself. It was a few. Probably the best ones that I own are The Secret of Monkey Island and Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge. Those games are great, and I really loved when those remasters, or those are actually completely remade. I love when those games include a hotkey, when you can swap back and forth between the original game and the new game, because the original Monkey Islands did not have voice lines, and the new ones do. And so I loved the ability to swap back and forth, be able to experience it either way. I did buy the Command & Conquer remastered. I probably played for about an hour.
I was going to say, I remember when you guys all picked that up, and then I never played the Command & Conquer series, and you guys were all like, oh, this is going to be so much fun. And I was a little jealous, man, because I was like, I want in on the fun. And
I'm the only one who bought it.
I think Andy bought it too, didn't he?
If others, well, Andy never games with us. If we had a couple people who had picked it up, I think it would have been a lot of fun, but I was the only one who did it. But it was $20, no big deal. I do also own Baldur's Gate, the enhanced edition, and I have also bought all of the Mario remakes on the Switch. The Mario remakes are kind of funny because they don't really seem updated, because the Nintendo animation style is kind of just perpetually the same. The bright colors don't really change all that much, or the graphics. So I just like having the portability of owning them on the Switch, but I have bought quite a few Mario remasters. All right. So let's go ahead and transition here. Let's talk about some games that we want to see remastered. Josh, we know you would not spend a penny on any of these remasters, but I assume there are a couple of games you're a little nostalgic for that you'd be able to make a list.
Au contraire, my friend. There are some games out there that if they were like, hey, we are remastering this game and they are going to do a good job. So not the stupid Nintendo remasters where it's like they've upgraded the graphics by like 2 pixels. And it's like, oh, now you can play it on your Switch. That's called backwards compatibility, people. Like, everybody else does it. So, quit charging me $60 for that privilege. But if there are some games where if there was a legit remaster done where there was like highly updated graphics, better controls, better, smoother, 120 frames a second or whatever, that would be amazing. And I would get super amped on those. So
hit us with one. What you got?
I mean, first one that comes to mind, I know this has got to be on y'all's list, is GoldenEye.
GoldenEye.
That's number one on mine.
It's
No
not
joke.
on yours?
No, it's number one.
Oh,
on
okay.
mine.
It's number one on my list too. It's literally the first one because, man, the days of GoldenEye, they can never be reclaimed. You know, it's like the lost Temple of Gold. It's the sunken city of Atlantis. It's just this, you can't get those days back, you know, and it's like, but I would drop $60 on a GoldenEye remaster in a heartbeat, as long as it looked like they were actually putting some love into it. Now, I think, to be fair, and to sound professional, I think there was an attempt at a GoldenEye remaster, but it was like really, really bad, and it was a long time ago, and it really didn't catch on, so I'm not counting that one. I want like an actual modern day remaster.
So when I was looking this up, they said they were 90 bugs away from releasing this game, and then it just fell apart at the finish line. Like, I don't know if it was licensing, I don't know what it was, but it just fell apart, but they had like 99% of the remaster done.
Yeah, that makes me sad. I try to block that out because it's like, you know, what could have been.
Yeah. And
you know.
Yeah, the online multiplayer, like, it would have been a little bit goofy, but it would have been fun. Everyone would be fighting for Objob. Like, just back in the day, proximity mines, like, man, those...
Do you remember when somebody got the golden gun, though? And then, like, everybody would just run. Like, you would hide from the guy that had the golden gun. Cause it was like,
well, it was always a race to the golden gun, too, because everyone knew where it was.
Right.
And everyone would beeline right for the
But
golden
then
gun.
it's like that thing from, what's the movie, Hunger Games, right? Where all the weapons are in the middle. And it's like, if you run, if you run out there and you don't get a weapon, you're getting shot and dying instead.
Okay, do you guys miss weapons on the map, or do you guys like loadouts?
I like a little bit of both, to be honest. Like, I think there is the fun of like going to get that weapon. But see, for me, part of the frustration with the Halo re-releases where I didn't remember where all these weapons spawn. You know what I mean? So I think that you should have like random weapon spawns or something like that. Like Quake Arena. I don't know if you guys ever played Quake Arena, but I loved that game back in the day. And that had the same thing where it was like weapons would spawn in certain areas. But
that, like, they did it on purpose because the sniper and the rocket launcher would always be in the middle of the map, and that's because both teams would have to basically fight for those items and then dominate when they get them. Yeah, I don't know. I miss that. I don't like the whole, like, coming in with your favorite weapon, like, off the bat. So, I don't know. Finding weapons on the map, which, like, Battle Royales have, like, brought back a little bit. Like running around trying to find weapons, so I don't know. Full circle.
Or games like Warzone that combine both.
That's
where
what
if
I
you
was
get
saying.
enough money,
That's true.
you pull in your loadout, but you can also find guns.
I like a little bit of both. I think that's a really good mashup.
This might be an unpopular opinion, but I preferred Perfect Dark to GoldenEye.
I mean, dude, Perfect Dark was great, but I didn't play as much Perfect Dark, so it doesn't have that like. It doesn't warm like the cockles of my heart like GoldenEye does. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I still remember having, 8 people sitting on a couch, not the same couch because that would be a little weird, but everybody sitting in the room, taking turns, like passing the controller off to like different people and playing GoldenEye for just hours and hours and hours.
And then there was the rule, if you win, you get to stay on.
Right.
And then the other 3 people have to switch.
Right. Yeah, Perfect Dark was not to sound blasphemous, but it was a better video game.
It was newer.
Right, but
they improved on GoldenEye.
Right. I didn't play it as much. So for me, it doesn't hold the same weight, I guess.
See, I didn't have very good aim, so I really appreciated the laptop gun because you could chuck it out as a sentry and it would just auto shoot other people. And the Far Sight was way worse than the golden gun because that was the sniper that could shoot through walls, but it also had like the temperature sensor sight, so you could see anyone and shoot them anywhere on the map and they would just die, which was a preposterous weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so GoldenEye, top of the list for Josh, huh?
And Todd.
And me.
Number 1 with a bullet. All right, Todd, what else do you have on your list?
All right, this is going to come out of left field, but I think I'm going to get both of you guys to buy in on it. Do you guys remember They were platformers for the most part, but the old Disney classic games of Aladdin, Jungle Book, and Lion King.
Of course I remember them.
They were
amazing.
They were amazing, and they were very difficult. And if you could remake those games, modernize the graphics, Disney's all about remakes. How come they're not remaking these games?
You want a live action remake
of Aladdin
and Lion King?
Man, if only you had Disney Plus, because they're both on there.
No, like for real though, the Aladdin video game, Jungle Book video game, and Lion King video game, all three of those, I remember as a kid them being amazing. If you go back and play them, you're like, yeah, this is pretty fun. But, you had to find an old console to do it. You have to find the old cartridge to do it. It would be really nice, if outside of going and finding an emulator to like just be able to buy it, have it in your Steam library, and then jump into it when you just want like a platformer to run through a level, or to even play with my kids. Because like they're like, once they get to the age they can run through platformers, like it's fun being able to play Disney movie games with your kids.
Weren't these games like real hard though? If I seem to remember, and I did play them, but it's been a while, and I never really got into them a whole lot. But like, if I remember, aren't they pretty difficult platformer games?
There's some levels. Like I remember on Lion King, there was one where the giraffes would tip up
that's
their
the one
heads.
I was thinking of, yeah.
And it was just mayhem the whole time. Like the timing. I was little when I was playing it, but the timing had to be impeccable.
Do you think that would like, when's the last time you played an actual difficult platformer game in your adulthood?
Mario's not that difficult.
That's not difficult. That's what I'm saying.
You guys just ran through Cuphead, right?
I mean, yeah, but that's not really it's got some platforming elements with a couple of the bosses where you have to like jump on the clouds and stuff, but it's not like a legit platformer. I'm just wondering, because I used to love platformers back in the day, but now, like, in my old grumpiness, like, I have zero desire to play platformers anymore. But we all know how much you love the ability to jump, Todd. So it's like,
and that's what
I know platformers have a special place in your heart, but yeah,
it all started at a young age.
Yeah, maybe now we know why Todd likes games where he can jump. It's the Disney games.
Yeah. Well, I got good news for you, Todd. If you didn't know, you can actually get The Lion King and Aladdin for your Nintendo Switch.
Stop it. Are you serious?
Yeah, $30. They're combined. You can buy them. They are HD remasters.
$20 a piece price point.
Call me your genie, Todd. Your wish. It's my command.
No. No. In true Nintendo fashion, these are not remastered.
They're just the regular old games.
It's still the 4x3 frame with like extra padding around it, and it's the same graphics.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know. The product description says it's the 30th anniversary collection of HD remasters of the most beloved Disney classics.
I'm looking at this. This is not a remaster. They ported it over.
I wonder if you can switch back and forth. Maybe you can see like the classic mode and the new. I don't know.
You know what they mean by HD remaster? It means that it'll actually stretch to a 1080p television. That's all that really means. It's like they didn't actually improve anything.
Well, in any case, I actually never played the Jungle Book, but I did play Aladdin and Lion King, and I do remember them being very fun and very difficult. I think they were on both Super Nintendo and Sega, as I remember. They were a lot of fun. All right, well, the first one that I have on my list, I want to see a remaster of Red Dead Redemption 1.
It's called Red Dead Redemption 2.
No, I want to play through the John Marston story after the events of Red Dead Redemption 2. I want to be able to play them with updated graphics, because Red Dead 1 famously was never ported to PC. If you want to play it, you have to play the PS3 or the Xbox 360 versions. And I loved Red Dead 1 so much, I wish I could play it again with modern graphics. That to me is like the perfect kind of game to remaster, because it could look amazing, and it would continue on Red Dead 2, which didn't even come out that long ago.
I could see that. Like, that would be a game that would probably get me interested. I mean, I loved Red Dead 2 is an amazing game, you know? And so to see what they did with Red Dead 2 and go back to Red Dead 1 with that would be pretty smart on their part. And then, I mean, can you beat Red Dead 2 though? Like, that's the thing, right? Like, if you remaster Red Dead 1, are people going to look at that and go, yeah, but Red Dead 2 was just so much better?
I think Red Dead 1 is fantastic in its own right. The story was great. It was a little confusing to play it at the time because you didn't have the whole background of Arthur Morgan and the Vanderlyn gang, and you jump into this and you just know that you're this guy, John, who's got these scars on his face. You don't know how he got them, and you're hunting down your old gang mates. But the game was just so beautiful. It was all out in those desert landscapes that look so good in Red Dead 2. The game also had you jumping around to other locations as well. I bet there are a ton of people that are a lot younger than us that played Red Dead 2 and never even played Red Dead 1 because it's so old.
It's true.
So the idea of it being remastered to me makes a lot of sense. But Rockstar does not like to remaster their games. You'll notice you have companies like Blizzard, shots fired, they'll remaster anything and everything, but then Rockstar, they really hold those cards close to the vest.
Rockstar does it right the first time, too.
That's true.
I mean, honestly, they take their time and they make incredible games, and then they just go, here you go. You know?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You almost don't need a remaster because the originals still play so well.
It is kind of neat, too, because the way Red Dead 2 leads into Red Dead 1, I just, like, what would you want?
Sequel.
Like, that's the question. Would you just want the graphics to be equal to Red Dead 2 and then let you play the rest of the game like it is? Like, is that what you're looking for? Do you think...
Yep.
I mean...
You think they would need to tweak some stuff, like mechanics and abilities and stuff like that?
A little bit of it might need tweaking, because there was some stuff in Red Dead 1 that you didn't really have in Red Dead 2. But on the whole, I would just really love to be able to play that game again. And I still have it. I have my PS3 disc of Red Dead 1, but I would just love to play it updated. Plus, Todd, they could give you the zombies mode updated in today's graphics. You can be John Marston fighting the zombies. Yeah.
There was a zombie. All right.
There was a DLC for Red Dead 1 with zombies.
That's hilarious. I'm
Cowboy
in.
zombies.
Yeah, Paul, you convinced me. Let's do it.
Todd's in to take his money.
Is this when we email our senators? Is that what we do here?
No, Todd.
I will give you the email addresses for your senators to email and tell them what to do.
We are a highly prestigious podcast, Todd. I'm sure that we can... No, we still have to pay for those. Never mind.
I thought you were going to say Senator Cinema listens to our podcast. We don't need to write her.
No, I was
already
talking about trying to get Todd the DLC for free. You know.
All right. What you got next on your list, Josh?
All right. Man, I've got a good bit. I kind of wonder if I want to just go with like the home run ones or if I want to branch out a little bit. I'll go with another home run here. No, actually, I take that back. I'm going to mix it up some. Mutant League Football.
What?
Okay.
Did you guys ever play Mutant League Football?
No.
I have to look this up because I vaguely remember it. I definitely remember the title and I remember the game box. But I don't really remember the gameplay.
Mutant League Football was an arcade football game where you got to play as like orcs and goblins and undead and a bunch of different monsters, right? You were mutants, okay? And It was an arcade football game. So obviously it was the game of football, but a good portion of that game was just completely jacking up the other team's players. Like, you could blow them to smithereens. You could put like portals down if you were I forget like what race it was, where you could put like portals on the field and it would like teleport them into space. The goblins had like bombs. The orcs would just pile drive you into the ground and, you know, bust your head, that kind of thing. So it's one of those, wait, what's this on the Switch?
Hey,
Is
Josh.
this a remake?
Football League
Dynasty. I don't know. This
Dynasty
looks like a remake.
Edition. Yeah, okay. Number one, it's on the Switch, so you know it's not going to be as good. And this is probably just a straight up crappy Nintendo port. Yet once again, yeah. Look at this. The reviews are terrible. Okay, so
dude, all I know is I brought up some gameplay footage and I see that the away team is called the Psycho Slashers.
Yes.
Which is the greatest name you could ever give a football team. That is incredible.
Dude, this game was so much fun, man. It was because, like I said, it was football, but you could just obliterate your opponent's team too at the same time. So you kind of had this like combat aspect to it almost. And I love
like a forerunner to Blitz in a way. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Just a little bit more chaotic and team based because you could pick the race that you liked. So you had that kind of replayability and like playing the different teams and races and stuff as well. But the reason I bring that up is I like football games, but the problem is that every football game for the last 10 years has just been simulation football. It's been Madden. And that's it. And I miss the days of like straight up fast paced arcade football.
I'm with you. I love arcade football games. Let me read a small part from the Wikipedia page for Mutant League Football. Each team can bribe ref twice per game, once in each half, after which the bot referee will call phony penalties on the opposing team. This will last for a few plays, but the other team usually tries to kill him, one of the nasty audibles that can actually be played at any time immediately after the first dirty call. A slain ref is then replaced by an even tougher one who will promptly call a 5-yard penalty on the murdering team for ref bashing.
Yeah.
So that tells you what's in this game.
Watch gameplay footage of Mutant League Football. It is absolutely hilarious. It is bonkers gameplay. It's so much fun what you can do in this game. I would absolutely love to see a modern day version give me that same fast-paced arcade football gameplay with good graphics, tighter controls, and take my money, man. I know it's not a super popular game, so it'll probably never happen, but man, if it did, it would be incredible.
Josh, it's on Steam right now with 3 DLCs.
What?
How much does it cost on Steam?
$14.99.
Does it have online multiplayer?
Share, split screen co-op, online PvP.
It's got very positive reviews, Josh. We might have to cover this.
Is it the Dynasty Edition or is it the regular edition?
Dynasty Edition is free DLC.
All right.
I don't.
Well, there you go, Josh.
I'm gonna have to look into this. You guys may have just. All right, I gotta go, guys. See you.
I'm busy.
Very nice. Yeah, it looks like it also came out on PS4 and Xbox 360. How funny. All right, well, I'm all for it. Mutant League Football. I'll check it out.
This is 2017. But it only has 440 reviews, so that scares me because it's like, where is the online? And it's a free demo.
Very positive. Yeah.
Guys, I know what we need to review.
The demo to Mutant League Football.
This is amazing. All right, well, I'm downloading the demo right now.
Very nice. All right, Todd, what you got second up on your list?
All right. So hopefully you guys have heard of this. Maybe you've played it, but there's this little game out there called Caesar 3 that is a city builder game where you basically build a Roman city and you have to build aqueducts and you have to build markets and you have to build, like, you have to structure your city so like there's good hygiene and people can walk to bathrooms and baths and all of that. And it at the core of it, it's SimCity, but it's very much like Roman time SimCity version. And like, for me, that's just fun. Like, it's a little more cartoony than SimCity, so you can play around a little bit more. Like, the buildings were really cool, and they combined together to make some really cool buildings. But, it's on Steam right now, and you can buy it, but I think it's over 20 years old, and it just feels dated. It looks super dated. It looks like a, mid 2000 or mid 90s game. And like, I want an updated, clean, sharp version of it. I'm pretty sure it has more reviews than Josh's Mutant Football League.
This game looks exactly like SimCity 2000. These had to have come out within a year or two of each other, because these little icons and the font style and the animation, these look so similar.
Yeah, I don't know. I know you guys aren't super big into like city builder games. Josh has never played a simulation game in his life.
Every now and then I get this weird itch to play like a city builder game. And I've actually downloaded a couple. I played that new Frostpunk game where I don't know if you've seen that one. But
I looked into that. How is that?
I mean, it seems like a great game, to be honest. I played it for like 3 hours, and then I remember why I don't like city builder games. But it's weird because every now and then I do go like, oh, you know what? I'm going to try this city builder game, man. And this one looks neat, and they always look fun to me. I just can't keep my attention span on them is what it is. Like, I think it's because as soon as something goes wrong, I don't like that and I want to just reload, but then that causes me to never make progress.
Well, and they're very much sandbox games. There's usually not a whole lot of direction of what to do. And if you're not being driven forward by getting like loot or advances in a storyline like an RPG, sometimes it's hard to keep going in a sandbox. Yeah, I know that the newest SimCity that you can get on Origin, the one that EA made just I don't know, like 7 or 8 years back.
City Skylines.
That's a different one.
Oh, is it?
But
okay.
yeah, they did reboot SimCity, and I did pick that one up back when it released, and it is fun for a little while, but pretty soon it's like, oh, I have to upgrade these turbines on my sewage system because it's backing up, and inevitably it kind of just becomes work. But I feel like these kind of simulation games like Caesar 3, they're always so much fun for a couple hours, but then inevitably they kind of grow a little bit tired. But this does look like a fun one, Todd.
The reason I liked this one is because there was a little bit of defense. So like think of RimWorld when an invading army would come in and try and destroy stuff. Mm-hmm. In Caesar 3, you build legions, you build guard towers, and you have to protect your city from basically barbarians coming in. So there is a little bit of combat, which for me, like, it keeps it interesting. So you can't expand too big, too quick, pre-plan your whole city and do all of that. You have to start really small because you have to defend it. And like that adds like another element that you normally see in RTSs, but in this, it's just in a like single player like city builder game, which I thought was pretty cool.
You know what's funny? Get your kids to play a city builder and then laugh at them as they make like terrible mistakes. Because my daughter was playing City Skylines and she couldn't understand why her city wasn't growing. And I go upstairs to like look at it. I'm like, all right, let me see your city. And there's this giant lake of poop like in the middle of her city because she had to put the sewage somewhere. And so she only knew to like run it into a body of water, and she didn't have any rivers nearby. So she was basically like making like a poop lake, and nobody wanted to live near Lake Pupakaka. So it was like, I was like, yeah, you can't do that, man. So, and it's just funny. It's the kids don't know, man. They're like, I don't know. Like, told me I had to do something with the sewage.
Well, one day if she runs for city planner, no offense, but I'm not going to vote for her.
All right. Darn it. We'll just erase this episode. It never happened. All right. What about you, Paul? What do you got next?
All right. My next one is a game that, man, it looks like it's just so old. It really needs some remastering.
Mass Effect.
I want to remaster a game called Loop Hero. And this came out all the way back in 2021. This game's only been out a couple weeks, guys, but holy moly, can we throw some money at Loop Hero and just pretty it up a little? Because it's so much fun.
I want to play this game. We've talked about this. I want to play it. It's getting phenomenal reviews.
Yep.
I'm not a graphics snob. I cannot play Loop Hero because of the graphics on that game. I just
the graphics straight from 1990.
Oh,
is that what you're talking about?
That. Like 1970 something, man. It's terrible.
The mechanics and the story, all of it is really solid. It has all these solid bones, and then it just looks so bad. I still enjoy playing it, but I will admit that the graphics are a little bit of a hindrance. So I would love to see some kind of mod or something for Loop Hero that just makes it look a little bit nicer. But I was hoping Josh would get a kick out of that one because the game's literally only been out for, I don't know, like 4 weeks or something.
Dude, somebody make a mod. They don't even have to be really like great graphics, man. You know, I'm not looking for like anything phenomenal. Just give me something that is not going to make me want to stab my eyeballs, and I will buy this game. So if somebody's willing to do that, I will give money to play this because I actually want to experience the gameplay on it, but I just can't, man.
Yeah, so I don't know that there's much else to say about Loop Hero. I've already talked about it on the show, but
I love that,
that's one I would love to see remastered.
I love that you picked a game that is released in 2021 to have a remaster.
Yeah. But really, the only problem is just the paint. That is the only problem.
Yeah.
There's no chips in the paint. It's just a really, really ugly shade. Oh. This is like when you go into those neighborhoods that don't have an HOA and the one house that's painted like neon orange.
Yeah.
And it's like, what on earth is going on here? That's kind of Loop Hero. It's just a little bit of a sore thumb in 2021.
Oh, man. All right.
Josh, back to you.
I want a really good Star Wars game. And I've been cracking out. You and I have both been playing a lot of Divinity. I know where this is going. Prepping this. So I want Knights of the Old Republic remastered, man.
Yes. How does this not already exist?
I don't know, because, man, with the success of Star Wars lately and the games, I mean, they'd be billionaires, dude. Get your act together and remake these games because you'll make tons and tons of money. But I am starved for a good Star Wars role-playing game, and there's none out there that are like Knights of the Old Republic. Like 1 and 2. Like give them both to me. I'll pay $60 a piece, man, to play these games again.
I really can't believe that these have not already been remade because they are just old enough that you really can't play them anymore. Like for a little while, I worked at Progressive with you, Josh. And when I was doing my training in Cleveland, I brought my laptop and I went on Steam and I just thought, hey, maybe I'll just buy a couple games I haven't played in a long time. And I bought KOTOR and I tried playing it and it is just too old. The animations just aren't very good. I could not get back into it, but man, did I love playing it back in 2003. It's almost 20 years old, but I would love to see them remake KOTOR.
They had such amazing stories, such good gameplay at the time, good combat, great characters.
Consequences for your choices.
Yep, exactly. I mean, light side, dark side, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's Star Wars, which I'm a huge fan of. Just give me these games, man. Like I don't know why, but those are two games that I would absolutely love to see remade, or just give us two really awesome, amazing new Star Wars games that just kind of follow along with those. And I'm fine with that too, but it's kind of like you have the template right here, so use it.
Yeah, supposedly there are some rumors that they are remastering KOTOR, but they haven't been confirmed. So I'm curious to see. But that one to me was like a first ballot Hall of Fame candidate for remastering. If you would have asked me what games, if you pretend no game had ever been remastered, what should you remaster first? I honestly think KOTOR might be the first game out of my mouth.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got the campaign rolling, so hopefully that one will move forward. All right, Todd, what's next on your list?
All right. So this hit me when we were playing the podcast. So there's Fable.
Uh-huh.
There's Fable Remastered.
Uh-huh.
But that's already 6 or 7 years old now.
So you want
it's due for another.
It's due for another remaster.
I almost put this on my list because I do have the Fable remaster, and that's already quite old. That one is tough to play. So
I was playing it on it was Xbox Game Pass, and I was playing it on my Xbox, and I'm like, man, I love Fable. This is a struggle to get through. And it was like, man, I'm just going to wait for the new Fable game to come out. But I want to go back and replay the old Fables. It's just they feel so dated. And even with the remaster being so old and the mechanics being so old, like, it just can't. So I would love for them to be updated. I don't know if people remaster a remastered game. Is that what Definitive Edition's for?
That's exactly what that's for.
The definitive edition, buddy. Todd just figured it out.
That's the secret lingo. Yeah. The ultra remaster, the hyper remaster, yeah, and then definitive is the last one, usually. Yeah, I'm 100% with you there, Todd. I think it would be a blast to play it again. I really love booting up that game and you hear the narration in the beginning of the story and the music is great. And then you just start running around and the world is just very empty and it's very like strong polygons everywhere you look. So it's very hard to feel immersed into that game. It could definitely use some updating. I'm with you.
I remember playing it originally and you felt so immersed. Like you felt like you're in a village and like you could marry people and all that. And you're like, this game's insane.
Fable was groundbreaking when it came out, man.
Yeah, and now you're like, where is everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels very empty playing those old games because they couldn't handle so much memory space with all the textures. And so it is very funny to see a lot of those more open world kind of games and they feel very empty.
Yeah.
And very limited. Yeah. Pretty funny. Well, yeah, I know how much we're all waiting for the next Fable game. I don't remember when that's supposed to come out, but I know we will all jump on top of that one.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen any gameplay footage, right? Just like a little trailer sneak peek type thing.
2026.
Like, I think, yeah, it's going to be a few years.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right. All right, who are we up to? Is it back to me?
Back to you.
Yeah.
All right, I was probably going to bring up KOTOR if Josh didn't, so I'm glad that he brought up that one.
Paul.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pick another Rockstar game. And I'm going to say GTA Vice City.
Yes, absolutely.
Out of all the GTAs, bringing back Vice City with the neon lights, the Hawaiian shirts, the beach sunsets, like what game would you not want to remaster more than Vice City?
I mean, that's it. It's Miami. Like going down the strip in a Lambo, like in front of all the neon lights right next to the beach. I don't know. Vice City was the first GTA game I played, and like it holds a special place in my heart because of that.
I've tried playing it in the last few years because I do own it. Like I have all the GTAs from Steam, but the Tommy Vercetti character, he swings his arms so wildly back and forth that it's so weird trying to watch it now. And it's one of the only games that I will ever complain about the sound quality because that game has so many movie stars that voice characters. But when it kicks in now, it's just so low quality. You can tell that it's Ray Liotta and Burt Reynolds and Luis Guzman, but they all sound staticky and kind of weird. I feel like that whole game could be remastered. And I know a lot of people were really hoping that GTA would return to Miami. And I would also be fine with that. If you're not going to remaster Vice City, just set another game in that area or give me another 1980s GTA and I would be just as happy. I feel like it's such a great setting for the GTA world.
Such good music, man, back then. I would support that like a lot, man. An 80s, a new 80s GTA would be incredible.
Absolutely. But Rockstar, they don't like looking back. They only look forward.
You better keep hoping for that one there, Paul.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath. That's for sure. All right, Josh, back to you.
All right, time for one more here, huh? Man, I'm going to mention two, and then I'm going to talk about which one I would actually pick. Because I know this is my last round. So I'm torn between Super Mario 64, which if there was going to be a remake of a Nintendo game, that would be the one that I would dress, because they'd have to update it. They can't leave the graphics the way that they are.
That one literally just came out on the Switch. That's the one that came with Bowser's Fury.
No. You're thinking, I'm talking about the one with the castle where you jump through the paintings.
Yeah, no,
Super
that
Mario
came in the
64.
3-pack. That came Super Mario 64, then it was the
Mario Sunshine.
Yeah.
And Mario Galaxy 1.
But it wasn't, I'm talking but see, that's the problem, is they didn't actually remaster it.
Right. They Nintendo'd re-released it.
Nintendo just charged you to play the old version on your Switch.
Yeah.
Right. I want an actual remaster of Super Mario 64 with, actually improved graphics gameplay,
like
tighten it up.
a modern looking Mario, like
60,
ray tracing.
Ray trace, yes, yes,
Because you really need ray tracing in Mario.
V-Sync, all that. And then the other one, which I know there has not been a remaster of, is Ocarina of Time, because let's be honest, it's the best Zelda game ever. As much as like Breath of the Wild was groundbreaking and all that, like Ocarina of Time is the best Zelda. Anybody that says otherwise, you're crazy. It was Majora's Mask pretty good? Yes, it was. Was it Ocarina of Time? No, it was not. And out of those two, if you said pick one, I'm going with Ocarina of Time because I want to play that game again. And here's the thing. I haven't played that game in probably 20 years, so I don't remember any of it. You know what I mean? Other than the music. I still remember the notes that you could play and the songs that you could play, but that's about it. So I would play a remaster of Ocarina of Time. They would probably have to update the graphics a little bit. They'd probably need to update the sound a little bit because I want to hear them songs in like high fidelity, but it wouldn't really take much to get me back into that groove. But if Nintendo just tries to release plain old Ocarina of Time on the Switch with all of the terrible graphics from back then and no updates, then I would unfortunately have to pass and just let it live on in my memory. But
yeah, especially since they have remastered so many Zelda games, I'm surprised that's one that they haven't tried to cash in on more. It looks like they did do a remastered port for the 3DS, but that was 10 years ago. I'm really shocked they haven't tried to do that because they remastered The Wind Waker on the Wii U. They're remastering Skyward Sword. Why not Ocarina of Time? That's probably most people's number one pick.
Well, and did you guys play Link's Awakening? Like, that was an actual, like, legit, like, remake of that one, where it was, the graphics were super updated, like, high definition, high resolution, really colorful palettes and stuff like that. My wife got it, and because she never played the old Legend of Zelda, and so she was playing this because she thought it looked great. She didn't, like, the top-down view was a little weird to her, because she was like, wait, what is this? But she actually really enjoyed that game for not knowing that it was a remake of a previous game. And that was an example of that's what I want to see, right? Like, they did a full reboot of the game, but kept it kind of true to the original with a lot of modernization. And that's what they need to do, man. And if they did that with Ocarina of Time, I would get excited about that for sure.
Yeah, I talked on one of our episodes. I think it was when we did Never Have I Ever played. I never played Ocarina of Time.
Oh my goodness, man.
So if it was remastered, I would definitely play it. I remember playing demos of it in stores. I remember something about a chicken. You could like keep attacking a chicken or jump holding a chicken or something.
They had all kinds of great little hidden gems like that where, exactly. Like if you kept... There was this one chicken quest, and it's like if you spent all the time to do that, the chicken would teach you a song, right? And then it was like, but you could only use that song for certain things, and then you would get some great item or something like that. But yeah.
Well, if it gets remastered, I'll play it for the first time.
You hear that, Nintendo?
And I'm sure I'd love it.
You hear that, Nintendo?
You got 2 sales.
Yeah.
Josh,
all right.
I do want to call out Super Mario 64 doesn't have an official HD remaster, but a fan went through and remastered the game with so it looks like Mario Odyssey. So all the qualities are updated, all the texture quality and all that. It might be like a little difficult and I don't know what sites you're downloading it from, but it exists somewhere.
Yeah, and that guy's now in prison.
I was going to say, that's like what happens is somebody goes like, hey, I did this thing and made your game awesome, and then they go, oh, we're suing you.
Well, they made it multiplayer. So they updated the graphics and they made it online multiplayer so you can team up playing Mario 64.
Be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
How funny. Well, we're getting pretty low on time here, Todd. You got one more on your list that you wanted to share, or have we hit them all?
All right, got a quick one. Paul, I thought it was funny you mentioned SimCity earlier. That's on my list. It's been 7 years since the last SimCity. I'm tired of playing City Skylines. Give me SimCity.
I thought you might go with SimAnt or SimCopter, but SimCity is the proper answer.
Yeah, SimAnt was a great game, though. All right. the one I want to call out, I don't think there's a remake for this. I was surprised there wasn't. I did a little bit of Googling. Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah.
I loved Banjo-Kazooie, and when I was thinking about games to remaster, that was really on my mind. The problem is like they made Banjo-Tooie, and then they made Yooka-Laylee, which are like sequels where they tried to like recapture the magic of Banjo-Kazooie, and they just couldn't quite do it. And I don't know if it's because like the gameplay doesn't quite stack up nowadays. You know, like people get tired of trying to find like all 10 coins in a level if that's all there really is to the game.
Yeah, Banjo-Kazooie was one of my wife's favorite games, and my son James loves Yooka-Laylee. So that's right up my family's alley.
Yeah.
But yeah, Banjo-Kazooie was a great game.
Banjo-Kazooie is one of the games my wife and I played like from start to finish every night, you know, just side by side on the couch kind of thing. And I loved that game, man. It's such a good game.
And for me, it fit in right with like Super Mario 64, where like you go in, there's worlds to explore, you go through, you kind of beat the level, and then you move on and like discover other parts of other worlds and that. And like it scratches the same itch. Like it's just a super fun, like older game that I'd like to see new graphics for. Would I beat it again? Probably not, but like I'd probably sink like another 5-ish hours into it.
I think you can get Yooka-Laylee on Steam too. So if you've got that itch, check it out, because I think it's on Steam. But I'm not sure. It got good reviews. People like Yooka-Laylee. It just, I think I tried it and it just didn't capture the magic for me. But
right,
you know,
I'll try it.
Yeah. Well, to close out this show, I'll mention a couple ones that I had on my list that we don't quite have time to talk about. Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. Josh and I have talked about it at length on this pod. Nothing more really needs to be said other than I would love to see it remade. I would also love to see Metal Gear Solid 2 remade, because that game was so cinematic and so incredible. I don't think you could really remaster it. You would have to fully reanimate, I think, all of those cutscenes, and that might be asking too much, but I would love to see that one come back. And then also Dragon Age Origins. The first one did not look great even when it came out, and it has just aged so poorly over time. I know a lot of people who say that they won't even give it a try because it looks so bad.
Ouch.
But that would be a great one to see remastered, because that game still holds up really well other than the graphics. Yeah. All right. Well, anything else to mention before we close out the show?
Does Half-Life have a remake?
Not a remake. There was a fan that I actually like seriously updated the graphics on that. I think it's called the Black Mesa Project.
Oh, right.
If I remember right, where he actually went in and they actually gave him like the full like hey,
the blessing.
The blessing. There you go. It was like, hey, they were like, dude, this looks incredible. Like, go with it. And he did. He actually updated all the graphics and stuff on it. And then they like re-released it. Look it up. It's called the Black Mesa Project. It's basically Half-Life remastered by a fan, no less. And then they sued
that's
him.
crazy.
So, no, just kidding.
Yeah, I think the deal was they could use the code as long as they didn't charge for it or something like that, I think was the story. Yeah. All right. Well, that's all that we have for you guys here today. We will be back with another episode on Thursday talking about This Week in Gaming. Please come check us out on social media. You can find us at Multiplayer Pod, and you can also find us on YouTube at Multiplayer Podcast, where Todd has been spending time editing video footage. So please subscribe there and you'll get notified when he releases new content. You can also check out our website at multiplayerpodcast.com, along with seeing our leaderboard where we rank all of our games against one another. And then we will be back with that episode on Thursday. And then next Monday, we will be covering Divinity Original Sin 2. That's the order of words,
it's a
right,
mouthful.
Josh?
It is okay. Mouthful. You can just call it DOS 2, but then people are like, I'm not learning anything about DOS, man.
We're going to cover DOS and WordPerfect next week on the show. So, yes, DOS 2, we'll be covering that next Monday, and then we'll see you guys on Thursday.
See ya.
I asked for a remaster and I got it instantaneously.
It's Christmas.
It's
for
like,
Josh.
yes, I'm legit gonna go play this game.